Apex Legends Season 12 is finally here. Woohoo! Yeah. And with it comes a bunch of new buffs, nerfs, and changes to Apex Legends as a whole, alongside Mad Maggie and her barrel of fun. Isn't she just so great? And so I'm going to test all of the biggest buffs, nerfs, and changes to come to Apex Legends in Season 12 to see if they're any good, or if they're just not, really. But before we do so, a quick thank you to EA, our sponsors, for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel. So arguably, the biggest thing to come to Apex in Season 12 is the map changes to Olympus, as we all saw in that amazing opening trailer. So let's just get on here. Yep, perfect. And yep, map changes. They look great from up here. Yep. Yeah, get my banner. Wait a minute, wait. Oh my god, thank you. Oh. Yes, Olympus is back, and with two new POIs this time, we have Phase Driver and Terminal, but again, it is on that side of the map that we saw Icarus come to, so a few people are feeling a little bit annoyed about that. Personally, I think these POIs are absolutely amazing, and what it does as well is it doesn't just add a new POI, it changes that whole side of the map, as the whole hill that we had before, which was an absolute pain to rotate up to if the ring pulled up there, that's all gone now. It's all kind of like a nice, steady slope, and it's much easier and much better to play. We've also seen the addition of a second POI in Terminal, which replaces a pretty mundane choke that once went through to Hammered Labs, but now we have a whole POI there, so that's great. I will say though, with the fact that it's all in one area of the map, it kind of just feels like a really big, glorified town takeover to me. Like, the rest of Olympus is pretty much exactly the same. I just wish some of the changes were more spread out than all condensed in one area, because it makes playing the rest of the map feel the same as it always did. Overall though, the map changes are pretty nice, so I give it 7 gibbies out of 10. Yeah, gibbies. I don't know. Ah yes, Crypto, the guy that we just spoke about in my most recent Apex Legends Stereotypes video. You can check that one out if you haven't already. Crypto has finally been buffed. Praise the Apex gods for this buff. It's been a long time coming, let's be honest. Crypto's been pretty boring for a while. And so now with this most recent buff, Crypto can send his drone out for a whopping 20 meters. Yes, I know, what a long distance. It is just mind-blowing, really. And alongside this, Crypto's drone has finally been fixed so it actually scans people. Like before, I don't know if this was just me, but I swear it never used to really scan people, but now it's really, really good at scanning people. You can also throw Crypto's drone at a wall and it will stick there like some kind of sticky note or something. Like, that's pretty neat. I like that. Now, does this buff make Crypto better? Yes, absolutely. I do think Crypto is now in a much better place and he's way more fun to play. I'm actually having a ton of fun on Crypto. Like, I know, it's hard to believe, but I'm actually having fun on this character. Do I think this buff brings him into the meta? Not particularly. I think he's usable, and I do think at high-level play people will use Crypto, and I think they'll get some good use out of him. But then again, I don't want to say too much before we go into the next video, which is the Legends tier list. If you can get this video to 2,000 likes and comment, tier list for the boys. But yes, without giving too much away, Crypto changes are pretty nice. I rate them 6.5 gibbies out of 10. One thing that I know a bunch of you were super excited about for Season 12 was the brand new game mode control, and honestly, it is so much fun to play. That being said though, it's not a whole lot of fun to watch because there's not actually a lot on the line, as it's just a game mode where stats don't count, there is no real core progression, and it's just a bit of a freebie mode, something that you can use to warm up or just have a good time with your friends. I was personally super excited when I first heard about this game mode because I thought it was a controller game mode, but no, sadly it's not. So for as much fun as I have on the new control mode, and as good as it is in theory, for the fact there's no core progression and it is at the end of the day just an LTM, I can only give it 6 gibbies out of 10, but don't let that distract you from the fact that it's a super fun addition to the game. If you guys are still watching at this point into the video, then I'd really appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to the channel, as a whole big percentage of you guys still are not subscribed. Yes, now the one biggest change that everyone was super excited about, apart from those stinky goblins, was the fact that Caustic was getting a big nerf this season, in the fact that Caustic barrels can now be destroyed after they've been activated, whereas in the past, they've always been invulnerable once that gas is going off. But after some testing myself, I'm here to say that Caustic is not in fact broken like everyone thought he would be. Everyone thought Caustic would be totally useless, whereas I'm here to say Caustic is perfectly fine. Now, we all know Caustic mains are 1 million IQ and have gigantic brains, so they're not just going to put their gas traps out in the open, they're going to hide them in sneaky corners and stuff, and if you walk into a gas trap and a whole team is shooting at you, you can't shoot the gas trap and the enemies at the same time, so as long as those gas traps are put out of sight, they're pretty much safe, they're not going to get destroyed. They also have a pretty big health pool of 150 damage, and if worse comes to worse for those Caustic stinkies, they can just throw down their ultimate, and there's nothing you can do about that one. So while I do think this change was very, very good for Caustic, and I do think it allows some counterplay towards his gas, it doesn't make him completely useless, and that makes the change even better. So for me, this is a 9 out of 10 Gibbies change. I do think this is a good and healthy change for the game, I really do. Yes, my favorite hop-up in the entirety of Apex Legends is back into the game, and that is Hammer Points. Hammer Points is ridiculously overpowered, and just it's so much fun to use. This season, the Hammer Points are strongest on the P2020, doing 50% extra damage to Flesh on the P2020, and 35% extra Flesh damage on the Mozambique and the RE45. With stats like that, you might think the Hammer Points are pretty overpowered this season, and while they are, they're also ridiculously hard to find. Like, I've been searching all over the map now, I just can't seem to find any. The Hammer Points drop rate has definitely been lowered compared to other seasons, and that's probably a good thing, because Hammer Points meta is not fun. Just ask anyone who plays arenas, you'll know. Hammer Points mode, I mean, not arenas, Hammer Points mode. Hammies coming back is a good change for the game in my opinion. It adds a little of spice, even if only for a few weeks while Season 12 is out. So for me, I'd give it a 6.5 Gibbies out of 10. It's nothing too special, but it's cool. And then we've also got the introduction of the Kinetic Feeder, which is another one of those hop-ups which is just so forgettable. I mean, you've got the Kinetic Feeder, you had Quick Draw back in the day, you had Boosted Loader even now. Like, who even goes out looking for these hop-ups? Having your gun automatically reload and rechamber while you're sliding is in theory quite a nice boost, and honestly in-game, I just didn't see the benefit of it, I gotta be honest. Like, maybe it's because I just suck with my PK, but there were several times when I was sliding around and my gun was not full, but it just wasn't reloading. Like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? This hop-up goes on the PK and the triple take, and it makes the triple take somewhat more of a viable shotgun, even like it wasn't already. Like, we all know it was. But yeah, for me overall, this hop-up is just pretty meh, to be honest. Yeah, meh. I give it a 5 Gibbies out of 10, and I feel like that's generous because not many people are raving about this, and it's just average. If you guys are hyped to hear about the Legends tier list and my opinions on Mad Maggie, as well as the rest of the Legends this season, putting them in a list from worst to best, then let me know in the comment section down below. And until then, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one. That means you can click off the video now. It's over. Yeah, all finished. Baba Booey.